While San Francisco's team has truly been decimated by injuries this year, the unit that really stands out to me is their defensive line. Not only have they lost Javon Hargrave for the remainder of the season, but currently Nick Bosa, Gross Matos, and Kevin Givens are all battling through injuries. This means San Francisco's defensive line coach and Chris Kasarik will have to rely on some younger players like their undrafted free agent rookie Evan Anderson to get it done in the Seattle game. While Anderson's size is impressive in itself as he comes in at 6'3", weighing 326 pounds, he uses that size to his advantage. Not only is he extremely quick off the ball, he has the strength necessary to take on double teams. So in this video, I wanted to break down Anderson's most recent performance against the Buccaneers as well as other defensive linemen who really stood out to see how San Francisco will handle Seattle. Starting out, the first thing that you'll notice about Anderson, whether you turn on his college tape or his pro tape, is just how quick he is for his size. I mean, I don't know many defensive linemen who move this quick, let alone 330-pound defensive linemen. On this play, for instance, the Buccaneers are running an inside zone which has his center attempting to hook block Evan Anderson, but because of his insane first step and hitting him with this mean rip move, he gets in the backfield and blows up this running back. And it's not like he's a weak defensive lineman. Look at the power he's playing with. This offensive lineman is still trying to drive him away from this back, but Evan Anderson holds on and then punishes him for running up the middle. I think this is a type of play San Francisco's been missing out of their defensive line. And if he continues to develop under Chris Kasarik, he could find his way into a starting role, especially considering Hargrave is probably gone off the team next year. A big reason I have so much faith in Anderson is how strong he is for a rookie. Initially, a lot of defensive linemen and offensive linemen don't see the field their first year because they simply can't keep up with NFL strength. But that's not the case with Anderson, as he can not only take on single blocks, but when he's hit with a double team, he can often shed it. On this play, for instance, the Buccaneers are attempting to double block Anderson up to the second level, but because Anderson doesn't move at all and actually fights through this block, they can't get to the second level of this defense, and eventually Anderson helps get this back down. Outside of his physical toolset, Anderson has a mental makeup Chris Kasarik loves out of a defensive lineman. On this run by the Buccaneers, for instance, Anderson is able to immediately identify he's out of position, so he uses a spin move to get back on the play, and because of his hustle, he's able to help get this back down once again. Another defensive tackle I expect to do a lot for the remainder of the year is Kalia Davis. Like Anderson, Davis isn't waiting to be attacked by these offensive linemen, but he's doing the attacking. On this play specifically, for instance, you can see how Davis is driving back two offensive linemen, which frees up Fred Warner to come on the backside and make this tackle. So while Davis didn't register a stat on the play, he made a huge impact. And when you put him in one-on-one matchups, Davis's size, strength, and athleticism proves too much for offensive linemen. Here, for instance, he's able to throw back this guard, and because he's so quick, in part because of his linebacker background, he's able to bring this back down for a minimal gain. In a similar way on this play, Davis just out-physicals this guard and nearly blows up this play for a massive loss. So my biggest question for Davis isn't if he's going to have a breakout game, but when. And if it could be against Seattle this week, it would be a major boost for this team. Another player that needs to continue to show up this week is Malik Collins. He's arguably San Francisco's best signing this offseason, and I would say their best defensive tackle. In a similar way to San Francisco's other defensive tackles, his athleticism often proves too much on running plays. On this play specifically, for instance, he shoots across the offensive lineman, across three offensive linemen at that, and still makes the tackle in the backfield. But regardless of how impressive he is against the run, I think he's even more so against the pass. Not only does he show off his insane athleticism, but he has some of the more refined pass rush moves I've seen out of a defensive tackle. On this play specifically, for instance, Collins is doing everything in his power to set up this guard for failure. First, he takes a hard step inwards to get his entire momentum going that direction before coming back on this nasty spin move. Then he doesn't stop there, as he's able to finish this play with the hump move because he feels this guard coming back on him. And while he did get the roughing the passer on this play, I definitely don't think it was deserved, and in the future he does need to do a better job of wrapping Baker Mayfield up. But overall, he's shown throughout this year that he's a great pass rusher and pretty solid against the run. Another new addition who's really impressed has been Samuel Okuonu. He plays both defensive tackle and defensive end, and in this Buccaneers game, I thought he really showed how aware of a player he was. On this play, for instance, even though Okuonu doesn't beat this guard with his initial pass rush move, he shows off enough awareness to identify Baker Mayfield throwing the ball and then putting his arm right in his throwing lane, which ultimately causes the tip and incompletion on this play. In a similar way on this tight end screen from the Buccaneers, Okuanu shows how smart he is as a player. First, for instance, he chips this tight end to disrupt the timing of this play, and because he keeps his eyes on Baker Mayfield, he's able to identify the tight end screen and then get him down for a minimal gain. So while San Francisco's defensive line has injuries that continue to stack up, I think in large part due to the players I highlighted, they're going to have a lot of success moving forward, but starting with Seattle. But ultimately, these are just some of my thoughts about San Francisco's defensive line, and I'd like to hear some of your thoughts down below. Specifically, who was the player that really stood out the most to you in this Buccaneers game, and which defensive lineman do you think will have the best game against Seattle? It would also mean a ton to me if you could like and subscribe, and as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.